Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone. I hope you're checking out 1 hour of 5 Yard Rush, one of the best podcasts on NFL football in the UK.
Good evening, Rush Nation. We are back. We're back with another matchup show. And this one is, again, just looking at week 5. First set of buys, 4 teams on bye, 2 less games to cover. So there's 8 games in the Thursday night slate, which is tonight. The London game, which I'll be at. If you're there, drop me a message. Hopefully we can see each other. And 6 games in the early slate. And then we're going to get straight into it and break down these games. First one tonight is the Rams versus the 49ers. The points total for this is the Rams favored by 8.5 with an over under 43.5. And I think this is all down to all the injuries. There is no Purdy. There is no Jennings, no Pearsall. It's just going to be a lot of CMC, Mac Jones, and things are just going to get very, very weird. On the other hand, the Rams are in a good spot and going to be fiercely competitive, and you would expect them to win this one. 8.5 feels very strong, but again, that's kind of telling you what we're expecting here from the teams getting forward into this one. So it should be one-way traffic, but expect CMC to have a big game. As for everybody else, you're kind of scrambling to see maybe there'll be some Jake Tons in here, and then we'll try and break down who we're going to get a receiver. So I've gone for Matt Stafford as my QB 13 this week and Mac Jones as my QB 27 on the week. In terms of the running backs here, Christian McCaffrey is, of course, my running back 1. Kyrie Williams is at 11. I think some of the upside, if they do blow this out, might get capped. And it might go to Blake Corum, who I have at 42. And I think Brian Robinson Jr. will be involved in the receiving game. He's running back 45. Don't want to start him or play him, but in a very, very deep league, I would consider it. As for the receivers, I have Puka Nacua at 1, Devontae Adams at 6. The highest San Francisco receiver I have is Demarcus Robinson at 52. Then I have Kendrick Bourne at 55, and I have Marquis Valdes-Scantling at 59. If I'm honest, I'm guessing. Like, there isn't any real contextual evidence for who is going to be getting the ball here out of these 3 guys. They're all signed recently this season. Robinson missed time because of a ban, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be hot hand. Who makes plays and who's going to get there? MVS is kind of one of those sneaky plays that if you're in a real desperation hope, he's got the crazy upside that could just sort of power you. As we saw at times last season. So he's the kind of your throw-in here if you're looking for a desperation play. As for the tight ends, I do have Jake Tongs at 21 this week, which is a bit low considering there's not many pass catchers, but I'm just not sure which way Mac Jones is going to go. It's going to be interesting, and you don't need to worry about the Rams tight end. I do have the Rams as my DST 8 and the San Francisco 49ers as my DST 18 this week. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, who have a new quarterback this week. It is Dylan Gabriel. They have benched Joe Flacco. And this is a game I don't want any quarterback play from. I have Carson Wentz at 24 and I have Dylan Gabriel at 28 this week. Literally couldn't get him any lower unless he wasn't playing at all. Just don't think they're set up for success here. In terms of this game, the Vikings are favored by 4.5. The over-under is 36.5. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a 36.5 point total, and I think with London, this could really be a 20-16 game. That's what we're predicting here is a 20-16 game, and that looks like that could happen. So it is a low scoring fantasy game. There's not many on the lineup you're going to want in here. One player you are going to want here, or 2, are the running backs. Quinshon Judkins I have at 13, Jordan Mason at 18. I think these are the 2 that I would feel pretty confident starting in fantasy football this week. And then the other one as well is Justin Jefferson, who is my wide receiver 5 this week. Jordan Addison's at 28. I do think that they could throw the ball here to try and set some tone. Jerry Jeudy's at 35, and to be honest, I could have put him lower, but it's really not been good. Isaiah Bond should be an ad in most leagues. He's at 42. He is going to benefit from the Cedric Tillman injury. Not that anyone should benefit from an injury, of course, but that is where we are. And then We have TJ Hawkinson as my tight end 11, Harold Fanning at 15, David Njoku, who is questionable, at 19. I do think this will be a game for the Ds. So I have these Ds literally 1 and 2 in my line, in my rankings this week. It is all D all the time here. And then the kickers are very, very low. Rijkaard is at 19, Schmidt is at 28 in my rankings. This is going to be a pretty difficult watch. And for those of you going to this game that have paid over £100, my condolences to all of you. I don't think any of us dreamed up having Carson Wentz versus Dylan Gabriel as our London game, but that's where we are. Talking about another difficult game to watch, it's going to be Panthers Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 1.5, over and under set 45.5. Dolphins got off the schneid with a win over the Jets on Monday, and yeah, again, two teams I'm not really feeling here. Not wanting to have too much exposure to this in fantasy football. Think this will be a tough watch as well. I have Tua at 19 and Bryce Young at 21 in my rankings this week. In terms of the running backs, Devon Chan, I think, is going to be the main guy here. Chuba Hubbard is at 24 in my ranks. He is questionable. I think that if they do get up in this game, as they did against the Falcons, then he could get a bit more usage. But it's going to be really interesting. I've Ted McMillan at 16 this week in my rankings, a little lower than most. Jalen Waddle, I have at 34. Malik Washington, I have at 45 in my rankings. Hunter Renfrow is at 60. And then as for the tight ends, Darren Waller, we saw the emergence of him on Monday Night Football. He's at 13 in my ranks, so he is questionable. Tommy Tremble is at 24. And then as for the defenses, I have Miami at 19, Carolina at 22, and the kickers. I have Riley Patterson at 21 and Ryan Fitzgerald at 26 in my rankings. By the way, all my rankings are in the Discord below. So do make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Discord, and you'll get access to all of these ranks. Next game on the slate is the Jets versus the Cowboys. Cowboys are only favored by 2.5, which feels light. I do feel like that's a point total that they can easily exceed. And then also the over-under set 47.5 is strong. I know the Cowboys are putting up points, but are we really expecting the Jets to put up 4 scores here? I mean, I know the defense isn't great, but from the Cowboys, but that feels a little strong given what we've seen out of them this year. So I'm not sure I'm necessarily in on that. So that will be interesting to see. I do have Justin Fields as my quarterback 3 this week, which is going to be wild, but I think against that Dallas D, I think, anything is possible. And I think they're going to be behind in this game. And I think that Justin Fields is going to have to pull something out. Dak Prescott is the leading passer in the NFL in terms of passing yards this season. He is at 11. Breece Hall is at 7 with no Brian Allen. Javonte Williams is at 12. Isaiah Davis is at 48 in my rankings. There is a case to put him up, but I just don't think this is the game. I do have the game script going towards the Cowboys, so don't see much Davis in this one. Garrett Wilson's my wide receiver 4. I talked about him on our Patreon. Really interesting insights are pulled out of him about what they're doing with him that's very similar to Puka Nacua. George Pickens is at 11, and then Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin are at 50 and 51 in my ranks. As for the tight ends, Jake Ferguson is right up there. He's at tight end 3 this week. Mason Taylor had a bit of a boom week last week. He's at 16 in my ranks, though he has got a questionable tag. Do keep an eye on that one. As for the DSTs here, I do have them low. I have them at 21 and 23. And then the kickers, again, Brandon Aubrey's always pretty much going to be kicker 1. Nick Folk is at 15 in my ranks this week. Moving on to the Colts versus the Raiders. Colts are favored by 7 over under set 47.5. Again, feels like a strong case for the under here. I'm not sure if I'm loving. I'm not sure I'm loving that. I don't. The Raiders' offense is not one I'm trusting in too many places. Again, although they showed some signs of life last week. Daniel Jones is my quarterback 7 this week. Geno Smith is at 17. He's higher than he has been normally, but I think it'll be the game script of him chasing the game that he'll go into a bit of a hero mode. Jonathan Taylor is my running back 2. He's most people's. I have running back 1 this week, but I've got him at 2. I've got Ashton Jeanty at 9. I'm not worried about any of the other running backs in this game. And then as for the wide receivers in this one, I do have Michael Pittman at 15, Jacoby Myers at 20, and then Trey Tucker is at 37. And Josh Downs got a tough assignment this week. He's at 46. Next up in terms of the tight ends is Tyler Warren. He is at 2. Brock Bowers is at 4. He, again, is still carrying that questionable tag like he is most weeks, but he should play. Defenses, I've got the Colts at 5. And I have the Raiders at 26. And I have Spencer Schrader as my kicker 2. And I have Dan Carlson as my kicker 20 this week. So pretty narrow tree in terms of who I want out of that game. Eagles, Broncos, this should be probably the best game on the slate other than maybe Ravens, Texans. We've got the Eagles favored by 3.5. Over under set 43.5. The Eagles passing volume is something that we need to question, and it's not in high spades, and this is going to be a tough one to pass on. So I think Jalen Hurts is going to be scrambling a lot. I have him as my quarterback 2 this week as a result. Bo Nix, I think they could get behind and chase the game. He's at 14. It'd be nice to see the handbrake come off him, as he's just not getting the ball downfield as vertical as he was last season. Saquon Barkley is my running back 6. I'm expecting a renaissance to start this week and a comeback to form. J.K. Dobbins is at 20 because he is losing some time to R.J. Harvey, who is at 32. So I do expect J.K. Dobbins to start taking a bit of a backseat through the weeks until eventually R.J. Harvey takes over. Cortland Sutton is a wide receiver 12. A.J. Brown is at 18, just due to that decreased volume. Troy Franklin is at 36. Marvin Mims at 47. I have Devontae Smith all the way down at 48. The passing volume is not there. There's no deep shots down the field from Hurts. He's completed one pass over 20 yards this season. Just not feeling that there's going to be there for him. Dallas Goedert, he's at 10. Evan Ingram is all the way down at 28. Still don't think he's quite found his feet in that offense yet, but I do think it will come good by the end of the season. I have the Eagles at 7. I have the Broncos at 14 as my DSTs this week. And then as for the kickers, I have Jake Elliott at 13. Will Lutz at 18. 2 more games to go. Saints v Giants. This is going to be an abomination. They really have stuck this slate with just a load of poor games. Like Panthers, Dolphins. Jets, Cowboys could be fun at least. But, you got Browns, Vikings as the London game. You got Panthers, Dolphins. And then you've got Giants, Saints. And, Saints are favored by 1.5 which I just don't understand, but there you go. I never thought I'd get to a point where I see the Saints as favourite of a game this season, but here we are. They are favourites. And the over-under set 42.5. Jackson Dart is set to start again after winning last week. So it is going to be interesting to see what they do here. But I'm just, again, I don't think this is going to be a game that you want to be chasing many fantasy points in. We've got Jackson Dart at 15. We've got Spencer Rattler at 22. I'm being kind to Spencer Rattler, putting him at 22. Let me tell you that for free. As for the running backs, Cam Scatterbo is at 14. Alvin Kamara is at 17. Kendra Miller at 38. Singletary at 46. As for the wide receivers, no Malik Neighbors, of course. So Chris Olave is my highest receiver. He's at 22. Wandale Robinson's at 27. Darius Slayton's at 30. I think this is a good matchup for him to exploit. Rashid Shaheed is at 38. And then as for the tight ends, Juwan Johnson's at 6. He does have a questionable tag. Thea Johnson is at 17. And then the Saints are at 12. New York are at 17. And again, I just think that the Saints will get turnovers on Jackson Dart. Not that I think they'll win the game. Blake Goopy's at 23. And Jude Tadabe is the kicker this week for New York. Different kicker, different week. He's at 27 this week because I just literally don't know anything about him. So that will be interesting. And then lastly, we've got Ravens Texans. Should be a decent game. Texans favored by 1.5. Over under set at 40.5. This game will really determine if the Ravens are in contention for anything this season or if their season is over. And they're going to have to do it without Lamar Jackson. He is likely out this week. So with him out, it's going to fall to Cooper Rush. I mean, it's not official he's out. I'm just saying it's likely he's out. So CJ Stroud is at 18. Cooper Rush is at 26 in my ranks this week. And as for the running backs, I have Henry at 8. Woody Marks, who's going to take over the backfield in Houston, he's at 19. Justice Hill at 31. I think this will go well for him, and he'll pick up some runs here. And then Nick Chubb is at 33. Followed by that, I have Nico Collins at 7, Zay Flowers at 14, Christian Kirk at 44, Rashard Bateman at 53. And then I'm just out on Mark Andrews. I did a pit on him on the Patreon cast. You can subscribe to the Patreon now and get a week for free. So go ahead and check that out. I did a whole section of number of players and data analysis on them. So do make sure you go check that out. Mark Andrews is at 18. Dalton Schultz is at 20. Isaiah Likely is at 22. And there's a reason why I'm very much out on Mark Andrews this week. And then coming to the defenses, I have Baltimore at 9. I have the Houston Texans at 15. And then the kickers, I have Tyler Loop at 10 and Kaimi Fairbairn at 11. And that's going to do it. That is the part 1 of the matchup show done, and we got it in under 20 minutes. So do sign up to the links, do like and subscribe. We're really, really close to hitting some really big numbers for us, and we're really keen to hit those numbers here on YouTube. So hit like, hit subscribe, put some comments in them. They really do help us out. Just absolutely anything that can support this channel, we really appreciate it. We're putting the comments out for you. We're putting the content out. We're dialing it up. We're making it entertaining. Show tonight with Danny. Going to be covering off a load of different situations, ambiguous situations. We're going to keep getting sharper every week. Great show last week with RJ. Or BJ, sorry, not RJ, with BJ. So make sure you go and check that one out as well, because it was a phenomenal show. Lots of great content in there, lots of great discussion points. Do make sure you check that out. Check out everything we're doing on the channel. We're going to be back tonight, so make sure you follow us there. But until then, Rush Nation, don't forget, as always, like and subscribe, hit comments, join the Discord. As always, keep rushing.